Time now for one of our regular visits with Ron Chimelis, Viewpoint columnist for the Republican and MassLive. This time we're talking about how much UMass paid its hoop coach, the national political scene, and a lot more.
Bruce Landon, I think, has done as much or more. He has single-handedly saved hockey in Springfield many times, and I think he is leaving, as he says, with a good conscience that it's here to stay, with the new ownership and a good base of people and some revenue behind them and good marketing ideas. And Bruce didn't want to give it up until he was sure that his life's work would pay off, and it has. And
again, I can't stress enough what a gentleman this guy always is, and in a real rough and tumble sport. And he was a rough and tumble player in his day. He won't deny it. But what a nice guy.
He wasn't always a gentleman. But I'll say this, I've dealt with Bruce. He wasn't always a gentleman on the ice. I want to finish that thought. I've dealt with Bruce for maybe 30 years. He has never told me an untruth. And that's rare in any line of work. There have been times he's been careful of what he said or whatever, but he's an extremely honest man. He's a highly ethical person, and I think those things transmit, and I think that helped people stay with him through some very difficult years, and now he's getting, I think, his just reward. He's very humble. He's very embarrassed by all this attention, but he deserves it.
And you're, as you say, if he told you something, you could take it to the bank.
Not once did he even mislead me. And again, it's a business. In business, people tell the media all sorts of things. I can understand that. I don't always like it. But Bruce is a straight shooter. He was a straight shooter with the fans, with the other players on his team. People like playing in Springfield because they like playing on a team operated by Bruce Landon. NHL teams like dealing with him. You knew you were getting the straight scoop from Bruce, and I felt the same way.
Let's go in another direction. A fascinating story about one of those sort of only in Western Massachusetts kind of things. Northampton was a program where the police were going into the schools and just saying to kids, "Hi, how are you?" and high-fiving them. There were then some complaints. Folks said, what if a child has had some sort of negative experience involving the police? Can bring it all back. The schools ended up, and the police ended up withdrawing. It ended. You said this reversal wasn't sensitive, but shameful.
Well, it was shameful. First of all, they're stereotyping police. All police are bad. Of course all police aren't bad. And this is in a community, in a region that prides itself on fighting stereotypes and being progressive. Well, policemen are human beings too. On top of which, in Northampton, there were doors that you could, if you didn't want to do it, you didn't have to do it. They set this up to make everybody as satisfied as possible. And a handful of complainers, not the majority, but a few people had some bug up wherever. And the school didn't want to deal with the controversy, so they called off the program. I feel very badly for the police because they must feel they're operating in a town that doesn't appreciate them, and they should appreciate them.
Been a lot of attention lately to a local guy who made very good, Derek Kellogg, Springfield guy, coach at UMass, after playing there, after playing his high school ball locally, and after a few bad seasons, they gave him the axe. And you pointed out, here's the guy who's the highest paid state employee at $1 million, way above anybody else's pay grade. I don't think there's anybody even at half that rate. If there is, there aren't many. And you said, you know, it just plain, no matter what kind of guy he is, and he is. He's a great, likable guy, a good coach, but it raises questions about our, as you put it, confused priorities.
Well, they're not confused, they're wrong, I guess. I've always liked the fact that in most of New England, and I would accept Connecticut because they have major programs, we have kept a pretty good set of priorities. We want teams, we want our teams to do well, but we haven't gotten involved in what I call this rat race for national acclaim. And now UMass is in the rat race. Derek did not measure up from a coaching standpoint. I think they had to do that. But there's no law in Massachusetts that says you have to pay any sports coach that much. And I think it's gotten out of control. I don't blame Kellogg for that. But I think we should all take a step back and say, is this where we want our priorities to be when other people are picketing, protesting, living on limited means, doing things that frankly are much more important to society than winning a basketball game?
On the national scene, as I think everybody is, because the one thing everybody talks about constantly is, what's the latest in Washington? What's happening with President Trump? You wrote a fascinating, at times funny, but really, to me, very thoughtful. I read it a couple of times because it really was thought-provoking. Column of the controversy over whatever Russian involvement, computer hacking there was in our election, forced the resignation of the National Security Advisor, General Mike Flynn, and you said life was simpler when nobody liked the Russians.
Well, it didn't used to be a partisan issue. Now I think the Republicans feel compelled to defend the Russians because Trump is a Republican and he has some relationship or a different approach to them than we're used to. Life wasn't. We knew who the enemy was. We could deal with the enemy. We didn't want to go to war with the enemy, but we could identify that they were on one side and we were on the other. Now it's a very cloudy, murky relationship, and I think it's made it very unsettling for a lot of people just who to trust in their country and in ours.
Fascinating thing that we've seen higher ratings for the TV news, all news channels, subscriptions and newsstand sales, I understand, are up for a number of publications. So in a way, all this controversy, it seems, at least has people thinking and talking and reading and ingesting a little more about what's going on in the country.
Well, that's what I keep hearing, and the numbers probably don't lie. But I also talk to a lot of people. I wrote a non-byline editorial about burnout. A lot of people are turning away from the news that they always watch because it's so discouraging, it's so divisive, and they're looking for other ways to normalize their life instead of being surrounded by everything Donald Trump. But it has awakened the American public to democracy, to what it stands for, what we want it to stand for. We're having a debate about what we're all about that is painful, but I think it's overdue, and I hope it turns out well.
All the time we have. Ron Chimelis, Viewpoint columnist for the Republican. Always a pleasure to have you in, sir. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.